It doesn't matter where we're at in the Escape from Tarkov wipe cycle, early wipe or late wipe, everyone needs to make a quick buck. Whether it's for upgrading your hideout or just getting those fatter loadouts to go out and kill some PMCs, you're always needing money in this game. Making money is quite easy to do, but some of the best ways of making money involve you spending money also. Resort is a prime example of this. If you can buy or find all of the keys that you need to loot the resort fully, and you get a quiet enough raid to do so, you can come out with an absolute fortune. Now, all of the keys that you see on screen now are the keys that I use to loot the resort, and I'm going to show you exactly what you can expect from this. Every raid that I've done in a live raid, I've netted over 1 million rubles each raid, and it has been insane. And I've found some stuff that I really want to keep, like moonshines I can use for the scav case and the hideout and all that sort of stuff as well. So there's a lot of money to be made here, and I'm going to show you just where to go to do it. We're going to be starting off in the west wing, moving over to the north wing, and then finally ending at the east wing. So we're going to move all the way down to the far side of west wing towards the breach hole and start from there. So now we're at the far side, we can jump through breach and then enter the long corridor on the ground floor of west wing. There are a couple of rooms in this floor that we're going to need to loot. The first one is just right of 103, the first room that you'll see on the left hand side of this corridor. There you go, 104, that's the first room we're going to loot and one of the first locked rooms that we're going to be unlocking. So unlock this room here, and as soon as you go in, you'll see some metal cabinets on the right hand side. Loot these for medical items. You might find lead X's here or thalamoscopes. Any medical items can spawn on these cabinets, so make sure you're having a look. And then you've got a desk that you can look at. The blue keycard actually spawns around this area of the desk, and you'll also find loose money as well, so make sure you're looting here just in case. And then you've got some more metal cabinets on the back here as well. These don't only spawn medical items, you'll also find tech spawns here as well, so keep an eye out because I have seen a good few graphics cards on these shelves. And I would like to point out I'm doing this in an offline raid. The loot isn't as good in offline, but it's just to show you the run a lot easier. I'll throw up some screenshots at the end of just what I've come out with, just so you can see the sort of money that can be made with successful runs of doing the resort. So coming out of 104, we're going to continue down this long corridor and make our way to the next locked room. If you want to take your time and loot the unlocked rooms on the way past, there are a few medical bags and duffel bags and all that you can loot. All of them are good because you never know what you're going to find in there. 112 is the next locked room we're going to go in though. You need this for a relatively early on quest, so you may already have this key. But going inside, you will see a TV on a cabinet here. On top of this cabinet is a blue keycard spawn, so check that just in case. And then you've got food items that can spawn on here. You can find moonshine on this table to the left hand side, and then you've got 2 duffel bags in here as well which you can loot. Once you've done that, you're going to make your way to a stairwell and move yourself up to the second floor. I'm going to go to the far stairs here where we entered the resort, and I'm just going to go up to the second floor from here. Once you're at the second floor, there are a good few rooms walking down this long corridor that you're going to want to loot. The first one is on the right hand side, lit up by one of these industrial lights. This is room 220. Opening up room 220, you will see quite a few items in here that you're going to want to take a look at. Just to the left, as soon as you enter, you got a wooden box that you can loot for ammunition and attachments, and medical items spawn loosely around this green box as well, so make sure you keep an eye out. Moving around the room now, you've got 2 slim weapon boxes that you can loot for attachments and weapons themselves, and you've got medical items that can spawn behind this thin weapon box in the corner here. And lastly, the small cardboard box in the left corner is actually a great valuable spawn. You can find anything from bitcoins, lions, horse statues, everything can spawn on this little box, so make sure you're keeping an eye out there. After you finish with this room, go back out into the main hallway and continue walking down. On your left hand side you'll see room 218, which actually links a couple of rooms together. But going into 218, straight away on the right hand side you'll see 2 stoves, and they actually have food items that can spawn on this table. You can find moonshine here as well as sugar, so keep an eye out here for those more expensive items. Inside the bathroom you've got some cardboard boxes that are wrapped together. On top of here you can find an RSAS spawn, so keep an eye out as well if you're going into this room. Moving our way around to the left now, you got a blue barrel. This blue barrel actually spawns a red keycard occasionally, so keep an eye out for that. It's a rare spawn, but of course the red keycard is probably one of the most sought after items in this game. Continuing around left, you've got a wooden crate and a cardboard box. Loose ammunition spawns on here, so keep an eye out for the high tier ammos. You've got 2 weapons lockers as well, which you can find attachments, magazines and hanging weapons as well. And then just before you go out onto the balcony, you can have money spawning on this metal table in the middle, and you've got another green wooden box. Moving out onto the balcony now, you'll be entering the adjacent rooms. Straight ahead of you as soon as you enter, you've got a large grey weapons crate. Loot that because you can find anything in here from weapons themselves to high tier attachments to even red rebels can spawn in these as long as they are free high. And then once you've looted that, take a look at the wooden crates to the left side of it, because that is where medical items can spawn. You can find all sorts on here. And then continuing around, you've got a TV on top of a wooden table. Loot this table because you'll find some loose ammo and money spawning on these tables, so that's always a good thing to pick up because it doesn't take up a lot of space either. And then when you enter the next balcony, keep an eye out to the right hand side because you'll see a loose M4 spawn just resting up against this wall. Moving on to the final room now, you'll have another TV cabinet which you can loot for loose money, and then you've got a medical bag. As I say, medical bags are always good. You never know what you're going to find in here. Even ophthalmoscopes, defibrillators, LEDXs, all the high tier medical items, they also spawn in these bags, although they are quite rare, so it's always worth checking. And then after that you've got the duffel bag as well, which you can loot. Moving back out now, we're going to go back to the main corridor. Once you are in the corridor, straight ahead of you, you will see room 216 being lit up by another light. You're going to want to unlock 216. Again, this has quite a lot in it, so you're going to want to pay attention. Straight away to the left hand side, you've got a cardboard box. Tech items spawn on here. You can find Tetrises and graphics cards on here, so keep an eye out. And then moving your way around the room, you got a thin weapons box as well, which you can loot. And then continuing your way around, you'll see loose ammunition spawn between this table and the crate on this small cardboard box. You'll also see like grenade launcher rounds as well, so keep an eye out here. And then on this wooden table you've got a grenade box itself, but you've also got a moonshine spawn and a sugar spawn as well on here, so keep an eye out for those. Moving your way around, you've got a small black weapons box. You can loot that. Again, loads of things can spawn in these weapons boxes. And then moving your way around to the right, these green boxes are stacked on top of each other. You'll find loose medical items on top of them. And then you've got a metal table. Again, medical items can spawn on the table. And then one last grenade box that you can loot as well. This chair also has a chance of spawning an M4 and magazines underneath it, so keep an eye on this chair as well if you have a secondary weapon slot free or space in your backpack. Moving out and continue down the corridor now, you're going to want to jump over the barbed wire. And then continue round, you're going to want to go and look towards the sky bridge, but we're not going to cross that yet. So looking towards the sky bridge, you'll see a wardrobe to the right hand side, and by that is room 205. You're going to want to just go and open 205. This has an adjacent room with a red keycard spawn in it as well, so just unlock this and you've got 2 rooms to loot. As soon as you go in, you've got tech spawns on this chair to the right hand side, as well as LEDXs that can spawn here also. You're going to want to scour the floor as well, because industrial items, medical items and technical items can all spawn on the floor. On the table you've got a toolbox as well which you can loot, and industrial items that can spawn around on the table. And then you've got a med box in the back of the room as well with loose meds that spawn around it, as well as the bedside cabinet that can spawn sort of gold chains and chainlets as well as medical items. Go out onto the balcony and you've got another thin weapons box if you want to take the risk of being exposed. You can lay down and loot it or crouch and loot it and you will be safer, but it's one of those that you can miss if you need to. Moving on to the next room, underneath the bed you'll see a newspaper, that's the red keycard spawn. But in this room as well, you've got a weapon rack, which I occasionally see AKSs spawn in, and then you've got a duffel bag which you can loot, as well as a table where medical items can spawn, and then one more med bag. Moving on from here, we're going to go up the stairs now. So go to the middle stairs, which is just here. Go up these spiral stairs and then head down this short corridor all the way to the end to 301. 301's this room just on its own to the left hand side down the end of this corridor. You're going to want to unlock this. This is one of the best rooms in the resort to loot. You're going to want to check on top of these containers, and you can find industrial items that spawn on top and below, so keep an eye out on the carpet as well. Things can fall through, so you may have to hunt around a little bit. And then after this room, go out onto the balcony. Valuables can spawn on this balcony itself, so keep an eye out there. And then once you go into the main room here, you've got 2 PCs that you can loot either side of this table. You've got a LEDX spawn that can spawn on both ends of the table, and you've also got tech spawns that can spawn on this table also. So keep an eye out on the table. You can find rare stims, you can find LEDXs, ophthalmoscopes, defibs. Then you've got the beds, they can also spawn medical items. I found a few ophthalmoscopes here as well. And then you've got a large green weapons box at the back. This is great, and I've actually found a Red Rebel inside of this weapons box itself, so a great thing to loot in this room. So a nice everything compact in this room, so it's easy to loot, and then we can move on. We're now going to just want to go down to the bottom floor and walk our way through to the north wing. Now the north wing doesn't have any locked doors, but it does have a load of computers that you can loot as well as a red keycard spawn. While you're here though, you may as well go down to the basement and check the next red keycard. You're just going to want to go into the basement and you'll go into this gym here. On the left hand side you've got the blue lockers, and in this open blue locker you will see the red keycard sitting on this shelf there. So moving around, we're going to go through the corridor that leads to the north wing, or the admin building of the resort, and once you're in here you're going to want to go to the stairs that lead up. Just before you go upstairs though, go down and you'll see a breach hole, and there is a trolley with a tray on top of it. A LEDX can spawn on this trolley, so keep an eye out here. Other than that, go straight up the stairs, and once you're up the stairs, take a left. Go to the far back room with the door open, and you will see a cup in the back left corner. Go into that corner, and just around the ashtray and the mug is the red keycard spawn. And then you've also got a computer in here you can loot, tons of shelves, and all of these shelves spawn tech and industrial items. You can find good amounts of graphics cards in this room, so just keep an eye out. From here, ignore the next room to the left, but the next door that's open, the door's actually come off its hinges. Go into this room and you'll have another computer which you can loot. As soon as you come into the door to the right hand side, it will just be sitting there under a desk. You got a safe, you can find loose money in and around this safe, and then you've got a desk where you can find a key spawn, and also some shelves which you can find industrial items on as well. The main room that you're going to want to loot inside of the admin building though is this next door here, sort of on its own, that's closed. You can just open it, and there are tons of computers that you can loot in here. You got one just as you enter to the left, and then just making your way around you got another one under this desk. Then you got a small black weapons box, you can loot that, and then another computer, and then on the desks that's toppled over you got another computer, and then you've got another computer in the side room by the band stage. So looting all these computers has a chance of giving you a graphics card and CPUs and all that, which do add up as well. So a great room to loot, especially if you've got space in your backpack. I do recommend bringing a really large backpack for this because you can find tons of stuff. Making your way down the stairs now, we're going to want to take a left and go in the corridor that takes us to the east wing. We're going to go all the way down the corridor and into the east wing now. On the bottom floor there are 2 rooms that we're going to loot, so keep going past the middle stairs, which are just to the right here, and you will see a room lit up with a light and a red handprint next to it. This is Sanitar's room, room 110. It requires the key with blue tape. You're going to want to just open this room here, 110. there are a good few items that can spawn in here. As soon as you're here, take a right and check the bathroom first. On the floor and in the shower cubicle, medical items can spawn. Check specifically by the bog roll, inside by the hazmat suit, and down to the left of the shower, because they are all LEDX spawns. Opposite the actual bathroom, you'll see a trolley and a suitcase. The trolley has medical spawns on it, and the suitcase, you can find anything in these suitcases. They're basically duffel bags, but a bit better in terms of more consistently decent loot. After that, you'll see his desk. On top of the table behind his desk and on the floor, you'll find more medical items, including another LEDX spawn. And then under the desk, you've got a PC which you can loot for graphics cards and other tech items. Obviously, you can find quite a decent amount of graphics cards in this room. And then you've got a small box that has a valuable spawn on top of it. You can find horse statues, lions, all sorts on top of there. Once you've finished looting this room, there is a lot in here, so just scour the floor as well. You never know what you're going to find. Come out of the room to the main corridor and take a right. You'll see the next room over is room 107. You can loot this room as well. There are some decent items to be had in here as well. As soon as you open it, you've got a side office that you're going to want to go into. You've got a med box here as well, which you can loot. You've got some tables, which has tech items. You can find graphics cards on here. And then you've got those metal cabinets that we saw in room 104 on the west wing. Check here, because there is also a dedicated LEDX spawn on these shelves as well. Coming out the side office into the main room now, you got a med bag and a duffel bag and more industrial spawns that spawn on this table. Might be worth checking these metal cabinets as well. Just outside of the room in the corridor, you can find attachments for weapons on here as well. You can find suppressors, all sorts of stuff. Then moving all the way down to the far end, you'll see a stairway. We're going to go up these stairs to the second floor. On the second floor, walk down the long corridor and you'll see room 226 and 222. These are interlinked, so as long as you've got one of these two keys, it doesn't matter, but we're going to want to open one of the rooms and loot inside. In 222, as soon as you come into the room to the left hand side, you'll see tech items that spawn on this metal table. You've got a valuable item and another tech item that spawns on the wooden table by the photocopier or the laminator. As you can see, a 1G phone spawned there. And then in the bathroom, you'll see an open box. Occasionally, not as often as you used to, but you will find valuables in here like bitcoins and lions as well. Moving your way around the room, you'll find a toolbox. This weapon rack, which occasionally spawns AKSs. You've got a grenade box. You've got these barrels, which have an MP5 spawn on it. And then you've got a large grey weapons box, which you can have a look at as well. Moving out into the balcony, you will see a locker. This locker is open, but you will find an occasional DVL in there. And then moving into room 226 now, you will see technical items that spawn on top of the bed and around the floor, so keep an eye out there. You'll find the occasional graphics card just lying on the bed or on the floor. By the balcony, sort of on this wooden door that's fallen off its hinges, you will see valuable spawns like clocks and all that. And then you've got a large grey weapons box. And then you've got the wardrobe itself. You can find food and stuff in the main open bit, and then you've got the shelves to the side which spawn medical items, and there is a LEDX spawn on here as well, so keep an eye out for that. Moving back out into the corridor now, you've got a couple of unlocked rooms that I recommend you checking. Just to the left you'll see an open door, that's room 219. You're going to want to go inside here and look to the far right of the room. You've got a cardboard box, this spawns a LEDX and technical items, and then on the floor as well by this water filter, you're going to want to just check here. Moving out of the room and then going to room 218 opposite. If you go in the room, you can loot this duffel bag and then go out of the balcony and head into the adjacent room. On this table with the bloodstains is a red keycard spawn, so make sure you're checking there for the red keycard. Other than that, you've just got a green weapons box that you can loot in here. Then going back out into the main corridor, you can loot this thin weapons box if you want to, but if not, just keep heading down the main corridor and all the way down to the end. When you're in the central area, look to your right and you'll see room 209. This is unlocked. You'll be able to walk straight in. In this chest of drawers and on the window ledge, you'll see a LEDX spawn occasionally, but you'll also find other medical spawns in here as well. And then moving on to the adjacent room, you have a medical bag that you can loot, you've got a large green weapons box, and then you've got a thin weapons box on the table as well. Now continuing on to the next area, we're going to go to this short corridor on the second floor, and you'll see there are a few rooms here as well. You're going to want to go to room 206 on the left hand side and unlock that. In here you got loads of weapon boxes that you can loot, valuables that spawn on the bedside cabinet, and then you got medical spawns that spawn on these cardboard boxes. Moving your way out, you got a weapons locker on the balcony that you can check if you want to. If not, go into the next adjacent room. You've got a med box that you can check. You've got food and drink spawns that spawn in the bedside cabinet. You got valuables that spawn on this pulled out drawer on top of the bed, and then you have a duffel bag in here as well. Now all we need to do is loot the third floor of East Wing and we'll be done. So going up these main staircases here, go up to the third floor. The first room you're going to want to check is just over this broken up wardrobe. You're going to want to go to 306 now and unlock that. You'll see to the right hand side you've got 4 computers which you can loot, and loose tech items that can spawn on top as well. You got valuables that can spawn in this bedside cabinet as well as on top of the bed, and then you've got a small black weapons box that you can check here as well. Moving out onto the balcony, jump over the generator. You've got an adjacent room that you can loot. You can check on top of the bedside cabinet for medical items. You've got a weapon rack. This doesn't actually spawn anything to what I know, so just keep an eye on it nevertheless. On top of this small table, you've got a chance of moonshine to spawn, so check there. And then you've got a medical box as well, which you can check. Moving out to the longer corridor now, we're going to go to room 310. Now this is a very hit or miss room, but if you go into 310 nevertheless, you will see 2 tables, both of which can spawn sort of valuable items like horses, stuff like that. Occasionally you'll see a couple of lions in here, but that is very rare. It used to be a really good room, but it sort of fell off now. And of course you've got 2 duffel bags in here as well, which you can take a look at. Moving out of room 310, you're going to want to next hit room 314. So to get to this, because there is a barricade in the way, just go into room 312, go out onto the balcony. You can loot the weapons box if you want to. But then once you come out of the adjacent room into the main corridor again, straight ahead of you, you will see room 314. Once inside, you'll see attachments pretty much all over room 314, and you'll see a thin weapons box as well, which you can loot. Check this open area of the wardrobe because you can find technical items that spawn in here as well as industrial ones too. And then go along into the balcony, because this is where you can find a LEDX spawn just on top of these cardboard boxes here on the corner. And then you've got a grey weapons box which you can loot as well. And then a medical bag which also has a chance of spawning a LEDX in, because they all do. And then from here, go back out to the main corridor, keep heading all the way down. You will see sort of the marked room in here. It's unlocked. You can loot the pig if you want to, but if not, just keep heading all the way down to the end and then look to your right. You've got room 328. Go inside room 328, and on the table straight ahead of you, you'll see a PC and tons of tech items. You can find graphics cards, a hell of a lot in this area, either in the PC or on top of the table. And then you've got a duffel bag in here, and you've got attachments that can spawn on the bedside cabinet. Check again all over the floor as well, because attachments do spawn all over the place. And then all you're going to need to do is go across to the balcony into this sort of storeroom, and you've got a small table by the window. You'll find an occasional clock and other valuable items in here as well. That is all the rooms. Now like I say, offline doesn't net you anywhere near the amount of loose spawns that an online raid would, but as you can see, these are the sort of things that I am pulling out of Resort on a regular basis. If you want to also do this and spend a couple 100,000, get all of these keys and just run this over and over again, and you'll make your money back in no time and turn a profit to get whatever you need done, whether it be the hideout or just get some nice looking kits. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did, a like is always appreciated, and subscribe for future content. I make tons of content on Tarkov obviously, but I'm also trying to branch out into other things too. But thank you so much for watching guys, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.